Secretary of State Mike Pompeo ruled this week that Hong Kong no longer has autonomy from China. One America's White House correspondent, Jenn Pellegrino, speaks with the policy director of America First Policies to learn more.
We're here with Curtis Ellis, Policy Director for America First Policies. Curtis, thanks for taking time to be with us.
Thank you.
Curtis, I want to ask you about what happened on Wednesday. Mike Pompeo certified to Congress that Hong Kong is no longer autonomous from China. This, in relation to some security measures that China imposed on Hong Kong. Can you break it down for us?
Yes, the Secretary of State is required to notify Congress that China and Hong Kong are independent of each other, that Hong Kong is an autonomous, self-governing entity. Now, we understand that Hong Kong is part of China, but they are granted special trade privileges and other arrangements because of their autonomous status. Now, as a result of what Mike Pompeo said, what Secretary of State Pompeo said, certifying that Hong Kong is not autonomous, this does cast doubt on whether the continued special trade status and special trade privileges accorded to Hong Kong will continue.
Well, we know that the Secretary of State has said that America sides with Hong Kong. What does this mean for them?
Well, what it means is that Beijing, the Chinese Communist Party, which imposed this new security law on Hong Kong, which directly threatens the pro-democracy protesters and the democratic freedoms that Hong Kong enjoys, what it means is that the Chinese Communist Party could stand to lose the money that comes from all the banking operations that are going on in Hong Kong. It also could set the stage for sanctions, economic sanctions, on Chinese officials who are responsible for imposing this law on Hong Kong.
Curtis, what does it mean for the U.S.?
Well, what it means for the U.S. is that we are no longer pretending that Beijing is not throttling the freedoms in Hong Kong. And it also means that we recognize that China has abrogated a treaty that it signed. It signed a joint declaration with Great Britain, a document that was filed with the United Nations, under which it promised to respect Hong Kong's autonomous government for 50 years. It's basically torn that treaty up. We're no longer pretending that the Chinese Communist Party has done anything but what it just did, which is tear up a treaty.
And one final question for you, Curtis. What do you think we can expect to see coming in the next coming weeks here?
I think we can expect to see some economic pressure brought to bear on the Chinese Communist Party, which is responsible for this abrogation of its treaty obligations and responsible for crushing freedom in Hong Kong. That is the most direct way we could punish the officials responsible for this. We need to cut off the funding to the Chinese Communist Party. All of the threats and all of the bullying that we see emerging from Beijing are a direct result of the money we have sent them. Western capital has built up the monstrous dictatorship that is ruling in Beijing. And so the most effective thing we can do, it has nothing to do with aircraft carriers or bombs and missiles. It's simply cut off the flow of money that is the lifeblood for that regime.
Curtis Ellis, thank you so much for taking time to be with us today.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.